So far you have created the sprint board, created the product backlog items and prioritized them. The next step is to kickstart the sprint-based development process. The team conducts the first sprint meeting to get started with the development process. Although the sprint is a recurring event every 2 weeks or so, the first event is a special event. Some call the first sprint as a sprint 0 to keep the naming convention and understanding simpler and clear. Sprint 0 is the kickoff meeting to start all other sprints. It officially marks the beginning of the sprint-based development. You prepare all the items that are required for a smooth functioning of the sprint. You also consolidate and communicate the expectation clearly with all the team members. It is the responsibility of each member to play an active role in this event. This is an opportunity to set the stage as well as get clarified about any topic that the team wishes to discuss to be on the same page. There are some key takeaways that can be compiled by the end of the sprint 0. Some of the common ones are sprint naming convention, sprint duration, sprint start and end day, sprint tool to use, and finally any expectations from the team members. You will see with practical examples for them shortly. When it comes to the participants involved in sprint 0, it is going to be a team effort. Hence, all the Scrum team members, namely product owner, Scrum Master, and developers are going to be the part of this kickstart meeting. Let's quickly look at some of the details that you can capture when you are going to plan for the first sprint, namely sprint 0. So we have been using the worksheet to track some of the items during the initial stage of the Scrum. I have populated some of the values that we did in Azure DevOps. For instance, we had created till step 5 and then followed by step 6. We have step 7 to create the sprint board. Then we created the product backlog in Azure DevOps, followed by prioritizing those backlog items. And now we are in step 10, wherein we need to plan for the first sprint. So when it comes to sprint 0, there are some of key details that you need to decide as a team. This is one of the crucial meetings. The reason being, in this meeting, you are going to decide on certain conventions or certain practices that needs to be followed by all the team members for all the sprints that is going to come forth. Hence, whatever you decide in this meeting is going to be reflected throughout the product development's lifecycle. First, you need to decide upon the sprint naming convention. Although this looks simpler, it is important that you set these details at the beginning of the stage so that it becomes easier at the later point of time. Let's say for Campus Connect, I just want to use the simple naming convention called sprint 1, 2, 3 and so on. So in such case, I can mention the naming convention as just sprint XX. Next, sprint duration. For Campus Connect product development, the sprint duration is selected as 2 weeks. Hence, I can mention it as 2 weeks. Moreover, for sprint-based developments, 2 weeks duration is the most popular one as well. It again depends upon your specific product need. Next, when it comes to the sprint start day and end day, as I mentioned before, typically it is during start of the week, that is going to be Monday, and then it is going to end on the following Friday. Hence, it's going to be Monday for Campus Connect's sprint start day, and it's going to be Friday. To avoid any confusion, it is going to be the Friday for the following week. Hence, it is a 2-week sprint. Sprint tool to use, of course, we have already decided it. It's going to be Azure DevOps. Finally, you can also capture some additional details so that you can log all those expectations that you are expecting from the team members into the same page. Let's say I want the Campus Connect product development to use NUnit for unit testing framework. You can use it here. Team uses NUnit for unit testing framework. These are some of the assumptions that we have made here so that the team follows the same. Second, if you feel that for Campus Connect, continuous integration has to be enabled for new projects, then you can add that information here as well. Continuous integration, that is CI, is enabled for new projects. Moreover, you want all the team members to update the board on a daily basis. In that case, you can mention the same, update the board on daily basis. So these are some of just basic ones that I feel are important for the Campus Connect team. In case you need to enter more details, feel free to add more columns and add more details. Once you're done with this, just like the way we did before, I'm going to copy the table and then port it to our Azure DevOps. So once I go here, I go to the overview section. So we have got wiki. Here I can create a new page. Let's say sprint 0. And then you can paste it here. Of course, as we saw before, since it's a markdown, I'm going to make use of the same website that we have seen before. Okay, so here we have got all the details. We have sprint 0, we have the naming conventions, duration, start day, end day, tools and expectations. The tool has not converted the list of items as new lines. Let's make it as statements. Expectations from team uses this. Okay, so this completes this part. Once done, you can click on save so that all the details get saved to your sprint board. If you go back to the wiki, you have overview for the Campus Connect project followed by sprint 0 expectations. Similarly, whenever you have more artifacts that needs to be added, that needs to be used as a reference for other team members, you can keep adding them as a wiki pages.